this video, I'm going to be going over with you guys 5 misconceptions that skinny young men make about the gym when building muscle and wanting to gain weight. And I feel like it's really important to go over these because once you obviously identify these misconceptions, and if you think this and you know what's right is the opposite, you're going to think, oh, okay, fair enough. And then you're going to get ahead of the game and you're going to get ahead of so many people and you're going to make progression a lot quicker. So please stay until the end of the video. It will be worth it, trust me. And before we get into this video, I'm just going to briefly introduce myself. So if you don't know me already, which is pretty likely, my name is Ryan. I'm a 19-year-old from the UK. And over the past 3 years, I have gone under a physical and mental transformation, taking myself from 51 kg in 2021 to now currently weighing 69 kg, but I got up to 75 kg at my peak bulk or my previous bulk, and I am on a mission to inspire and help skinny young men who have previously struggled with weight gain to sculpt their physiques, and I want to help do this through providing videos for you guys. So without further ado, let's get into the video and the first common misconception. Okay, so the first misconception that I have written down for you guys is probably the biggest one that people make, and it is to do with the time skinny men think it takes to pack on muscle and build their dream physique. I've heard people say that they think they can build their their dream physique in a couple of months, and within less than a year. And what really pisses me off, right, is when you get these coaches online that promise you such ridiculous results in such a short amount of time. Because I'll be honest with you, it's just impossible. It's just so unrealistic to, get in your dream physique in 6 weeks, or, I don't know, get abs in like a week or 10 days. Like it's literally impossible, because bodybuilding and putting on muscle and achieving a respectable physique and a defined and aesthetic physique takes years, my friend. I hate to break it to you if you don't know it already and you don't want to come to the realization, but building your dream physique and building an aesthetic and respective physique where you pack on a lot of muscle, it takes years. Okay, I have put on, from when I was peak bulk and in compared to when I was skinny, I've put on just shy of 25 kilos throughout 3.5 years of training. 3.5 years, and I'm nowhere near done, right? And I'm nowhere near where I want to be, and I'm nowhere near my dream physique. So it takes years and years of consistency, patience, hard work and discipline and change. So it is so important that you embrace that delayed gratification, because what these guys do that make this misconception is that they embrace that instant gratification. They want that instant gratification of only going to the gym for a couple of months and getting their dream physique, right? Where that doesn't happen. You get rewarded for consistency, and you get punished for inconsistency. Like, it may sound harsh, and it may sound like I won't get punished. You will get punished, because you won't put you won't put muscle on as easily as you would think it would be if you're being inconsistent and not showing up to the gym when you need to. So you're going to hinder your progression, and this can also fuck up your mentality as well. If you don't achieve the physique you want in the couple of months that you think you can achieve your dream physique, which is just ridiculous, then it can mentally fuck you up, and you're gonna look back on your progress and it can demotivate you a lot. Therefore, the chances of you quitting early into your journey are very, very high. If you think you can achieve your dream physique in a couple of months and you don't see the results you want, then you're probably going to quit. And I've seen this happen with so many people. They want that instant gratification of putting on muscle, and by the time they think they could put on muscle, they don't see the results they want, and therefore it sort of mentally fucks them up and it demotivates them, and they sort of get confused and lost at why they haven't put on muscle, and then they quit because they didn't see the instantly gratifying results they want. Bodybuilding is all about a delayed gratification game. You may not see the gains straight away, and that's completely understandable. But however, at the start of your journey, you do make the fastest rate of progression you ever will. So you will still see muscle, but you probably won't see the gains and the dream physique you want straight away. So even if you don't see the results, keep going, keep staying consistent, keep staying disciplined, try and keep your motivation as high as possible. Stay hard working, and just show up even when you don't want to, and just show up all the time when you need to. And then when you get that delayed gratification and you look in the mirror or you look on the scale and you see progress, it's the best feeling. Trust me, it's the most amazing feeling. You're gonna feel so fulfilled, and it's just gonna give you another spark of motivation, and it's gonna give you a bigger flame, a bigger fire inside you to just push yourself even further. So it's so important. And before we move on to the second misconception, I just want to go through something that I recently read in the book that I've just read as of late. So the book that I've just read is probably a very flattering review there, is A Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor E. Frankl, and I would highly recommend this book. This is honestly, it's put a lot of things into perspective. I won't, go on about I won't go on about what it's about, but search it up and buy it and find out for yourself, because this is probably, I guarantee, one of the most amazing books you'll ever read, right? And so I'll give you a little bit of background because of what I'm going to talk about. You need to know. So it's basically, so this man is a man who survived 4 concentration camps during World War II. 4 concentration camps. And if you have a basic knowledge of what concentration camps were like, they were fucked up, right? They literally degraded humans to the lowest level and literally gave them no value, and they had no meaning in life, right? And this guy, and I just want to say he survived Auschwitz, by the way, so that's like, you can't say anything about that. You got to give your respects to him. So anyways, in this book he talks about how optimists die first. And what I mean by this is, if you set your expectations so high and then you don't, live up to your expectations by when you wanted to, then the likelihood of you giving up is a lot higher. It's like if you set your goal to achieve your dream physique in between 2 months to a year of training, and most obviously you're not going to achieve it because that's just absolutely ridiculous, then the optimists are going to die first. Those people who think that are more likely to quit than the people that have the knowledge of it takes years to build their dream physique. Those people that think that they can build their dream physique in a couple of months are more likely to quit than the people that are woke and know that they're gonna, it takes years to build their dream physique. And basically, the example put into place for this phrase in this book is how in the concentration camp there was so many people that thought they would get out by, and they would be released by December 31st or Christmas of one year, for example. And when they didn't get released, they had their thoughts so high, and then when they when they found out that they didn't get released, the death rate in the camp went up so much because they lost all their hope, and their physical capabilities, they literally had none. So because they lost the hope and they had literally zero physical capabilities, they just gave up, and that led to the death rate going up and they all died. So that's what I mean by optimists die first, and I hope it makes sense to you. And basically what it means in this context, if you're not too sure, is if you think you can build your dream physique in a short period of time, you're most likely gonna quit, because I hate to break it to you, you're not gonna build your dream physique in a few months, mate. So misconception number 2 is people think quantity over quality. I need to go every day to grow. I need to go every day to the gym in order to grow and make maximal progression, and undergo the maximal rate of progression I possibly can, right? And I touched on this in one of my previous videos, but I want to go into more detail with you guys. So people think that if I go every day, even if I'm tired, even if I have muscle soreness, even if I need to rest, even if I'm mentally fatigued, even if I'm burnt out, and even if I just feel shattered, I still need to go to the gym because it's chest day. You can't miss a chest day, right? They think that even if I go to the gym and I have a shit session and I'm all over the place and my lifts aren't there and I'm not mentally there and I'm vulnerable to injury and my muscles are feeling like they could pull or they could tear, I still go to the gym because I know I'm going to make the most progression, because I'm not skipping a day and these betas and these losers are taking rest and recovery time. And I'll be honest with you, you may not think about that to that extent, right? But at the beginning of your gym journey, most skinny young men, and I'll be honest, I did as well back in the day, I thought the more you went, the more you grow. And I didn't really take into consideration the importance of rest. It is so important that you give your body time to rest. And the reason this is so bad is because you're going to lead to overtraining, which can lead to, hindering your muscle growth because you're not allowing your body to rest and recover, and I'll get onto that in a second. and you're going to go closer to burnout. And what burnout does, it doesn't just physically fuck you up, it mentally fucks you up as well. You literally feel like you don't want to do anything, you don't want to move. I haven't experienced proper burnout, but I've heard of and I've listened to people who have experienced proper burnout, and they say it's literally affected them for a couple of months. Okay, so you don't want to be getting to that level. And I just want to go through 3 things really quickly to reiterate the importance of rest days to you guys and recovery days, because as I said, when we go to the gym and when we start our gym journeys as skinny men, we don't know that, you know, we don't know that how important rest is, and we think that training is all that matters, right? So first of all, obviously rest and recovery provides muscle repair and muscle growth. Okay, so I just want to reiterate the importance of rest days and recovery days to you guys quick through 3 different things. And this is important because, as I said at the start of our gym journeys, we only think the training matters, and we only think that if we show up 7 times a week without any rest, then we're going to make most progression. So I just want to reiterate the importance of rest in these 3 main reasons. So reason number 1 of why rest is so important is that it gives you time to repair your muscles and to grow your muscles, because as I have said in like every single video now, when you rest and recover, that's when you allow your muscles to grow, because during your sessions, right, when you're working hard and when you're doing intense workouts, you basically micro tear the muscle fibers inside your muscles, and somehow they need to recover, right? So you need to give yourself rest and recovery days in order to allow these micro tears in your muscles that you've broken down during the exercises, during your workouts. You need to give them time to recover, right? And without recovery days and rest days, you're giving yourself less time for those muscle fibers to recover, and they don't recover like that, right? They don't recover like that, and you're gonna feel tired. And if you get round to having to train your muscle again, whilst still having the micro tears not fully repaired, then you're gonna hinder the recovery rate of the muscle, and the muscle's not going to be recovered. Therefore, you're going to hinder your progression next time you go into the gym, because if you're training with a sore muscle and a muscle that's not fully recovered, then the session's going to be ineffective, it's going to be counterproductive, and you're not going to be able to lift as much weight, and you're not going to be able to push yourself as hard. So it's so important that you give yourself recovery and rest days for muscle growth. And as I have said in the previous video as well, I wouldn't suggest going to the gym for more than 5 days a week. That is your cut-off, that is the most you go to the gym, okay? Give yourself 2 rest days every week, and you're going to find yourself not having this problem of training with muscle soreness, and you're going to give yourself and your muscles and your body enough time to repair. Therefore, you're not going to hinder growth, and you're going to see the muscle growth you want, all right? So that's the first reason why it's so important. And slowly linking on from the first point, giving yourself rest and recovery days prevents you from injury. Because if you're allowing your muscles and your body to recover and rest, the chances of, as I said, you going into sessions with DOMS and muscle soreness and fatigue, physically and mentally, are going to be a lot lower. Therefore, you're going to be training fully recovered and fully ready to go muscles. Therefore, you're not going to be vulnerable to you're going to be less vulnerable to injury. Therefore, the chances of you getting injured are very unlikely, or less unlikely than if you were to go into a session with fatigued muscles. As I said earlier, what rest and recovery provides is prevention from overtraining. Therefore, you're going to give your joints, the muscles, and the tendons the time off it needs. Therefore, you're going to be less prone to injury whilst you're training. And the third and final reason of why rest and recovery days are so important is because you replenish your energy stores. And this is because when you undergo intense exercise, you use up all your energy stores and your glycogen stores in order to carry out this intense exercise and, expend your energy towards, training hard and working hard and, going to failure and doing drop sets and all this stuff. Those energy levels deplete because you're doing all of that and you're putting all of your energy into that. Therefore, what rest days and recovery days do is that they slowly build up and slowly replenish those energy stores again. So by the time you come to train that muscle again, or by the time you come to start your new split again, you're going to be fired up, you're going to be ready to go, and you're going to have a fantastic session. But if you don't give yourself time to recover, then your energy stores won't be fully replenished, and they're still going to be a little bit depleted. Therefore, as I said earlier, your sessions are going to be counterproductive, inefficient, and you're not going to be able to push yourself as much as you really want to in order to stimulate the muscle growth you want to, okay? So it's so important that you allow yourself to have rest and recovery time. And the overall message of this misconception is that more sessions doesn't necessarily mean more growth. It's about the quality of the sessions and how you perform the exercises and how you utilize the weight and how you stimulate and isolate the muscle during the exercises, okay? So I hope that clears it up for you for misconception number 2. Okay, so misconception number 3, and I would say this is the second biggest misconception that people make throughout this whole video, is that people assume that the heavier weight that you lift, the more, that correlates to muscle growth, and that leads to more muscle growth. The heavier the weight you lift, the more muscle growth you're going to undergo. And this could be, the furthest from the truth, I'll be honest with you. I just want to ask you a question, okay? So if you, obviously you're getting into bodybuilding and you're getting to know the bodybuilding world and you find out about the Mr. Olympia, okay? And if you don't know about the Mr. Olympia, it's basically where all the best bodybuilders in the world compete and all the most muscular men in the world compete, right? And if you look at their training, does it look like they push the weights and they go as heavy as they possibly can, right? If you look at Chris Bumstead's training, does it look like on the bench press, whenever he does bench press, right? Does it look like he does what he's probably capable of doing? Of course not. He lifts with lighter weight and he controls the weight and he makes sure the muscle is getting stimulated properly, giving it the time and attention it needs and the isolation it needs in order to go under that muscular hypertrophy to grow, okay? Because what he does is obviously he wants to put on as much muscle as possible and put on muscle in areas he wants to for the Mr. Olympia, right? And he doesn't care about strength, and strength doesn't necessarily correlate to muscle growth. I'm going to put a clip up really quickly of Chris Bumstead benching 100 kg. Chris Bumstead benching 100 kg on roids, Mr. Olympia, one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time, but he's only benching with 100 kg. What does that tell you, my friend? I'll leave that for you to decide. Now, let's get into the misconception anyway. So, proper form is key, right? And if you're lifting heavy and if you're solely focusing on pushing the weight, then your focus on the form is going to be distracted in this. You're going to shift away from having focus on proper form. So your form is going to go out the window because you're pushing the weight and that's all you're focused on. Therefore, obviously, for the repetition to happen, other muscles or body parts or joints or tendons have to come into play in order to make that happen. Therefore, you're going to increase your likelihood of injury because and this is because you're putting stress on, incorrect parts of your body and you're not actually stimulating your muscle. And you're not going to give the muscle the time under tension and the isolation it needs. Therefore, less blood is going to be rushing into the muscle. You're going to have less mind-muscle connection with the muscle if your form goes out the window, which is very likely if you're solely focusing on pushing the weights. Therefore, you're going to stimulate less muscle growth and you're going to hinder your rate of progression in the gym. And what you want to do is build an aesthetic physique and you want to put on as much muscle as you possibly can, right? So solely focusing on the weight you're lifting is a completely wrong way to think about it. So what you need to focus on is you need to focus on your form and you need to focus on the muscle engagement during the exercise. Not the weight you're lifting, but the muscle engagement. I've been going to the gym for 3.5 years and I still use like the lowest weight on the cables to do cable lateral raises, right? I still use 5 kilo dumbbells to do lateral raises, but do I care? No, because I know that I'm using the weight properly and that I've got proper form and that I'm engaging my muscle properly, giving it the time and attention it needs and getting the blood in there properly and completely isolating it in order for my side delt to grow, right? I don't give a shit that I'm using 5 kg dumbbells. You can laugh at me all you want. You're going super light for what, right? To grow muscle, mate. That's why I'm going light. So you've just got to let go of that ego and not necessarily care about the weight you're lifting. And I know it's very, very hard at the start because I'll be honest, I was doing 1 rep maxes on the bench press every week. But if you can, the faster you get past that stage, then, the quicker you're going to experience muscle growth. You've just got to get past that initial stage of wanting to lift as much weight as possible and doing all them 1 rep maxes and doing all them inefficient exercises and lifts that won't necessarily lead to the amount of muscle gain and the amount of progression that you want to see. So it is so important that you focus on engaging the muscle, isolating the muscle, focusing on a proper form. And I like to think about, using weights like this. You don't want to think about the weight you're lifting, and you don't want to focus on the weight you're lifting and push the heavy weights as heavy as physically possible. You want to think about, and you want to, focus on how you're utilizing the weight. Sorry if it's a little bit loud. I think the dustbin lorry's down my road right now. Not ideal timing, but you want to think about how you utilize the weight and not the weight you actually lift, okay? And this is so important because the more you think about how you utilize the weight, the more sensible you're going to be. Therefore, the likelihood of you lifting a weight within your means is going to be higher. Therefore, you're going to have better form, muscle stimulation, muscle engagement, time under tension, isolation, all of this stuff, which is going to lead to more muscle growth. So it's so important that you think about utilising the weight and how you utilise the weight and how effective you can be with utilising that over the weight, focusing on the number on the dumbbell, okay? Obviously, the more you can utilise weights with heavier weight, obviously the more muscle growth you're going to stimulate. But you won't be able to do that at the start as a skinny young man. You're going to have to slowly build that up. Okay, so on to misconception number 4 that skinny young men make, okay, is that you don't need to train abs. Just look at yourself in the mirror and call yourself an idiot, mate. And as much as you can agree with this, because everyone naturally has abs under their fat, right? Everyone has abs, because if you have a good diet and you drop your body fat, you're going to see your abs, right? But when you cut down in the summer and go on that beach, you may not necessarily be satisfied because you're not going to have the muscle definition. And this is because you don't train them. Simple. It's like any other muscle. If you don't train your biceps, but you have a really good diet and you drop your body fat pretty low, you're going to see the definition in your biceps. Like, you will see it, but you may not be satisfied because you haven't trained them. Therefore, you're not going to have much muscle there to show for, It's the exact same with abs. I know, obviously, prioritizing training chest and biceps and triceps and legs and all that stuff, it takes longer and it takes more effort and it takes more stimulation and all that stuff. I completely get that. I'll be honest with you, you can completely burn your abs in 10 minutes. So there is literally absolutely no excuse to not train abs, because you can fuck up your abs in 10 minutes and that will be enough to, have good definition down there. Even if your goal is to have developed abs, and if you try and, obviously have a good diet and drop your body fat, as I said, you're going to see your abs, but you may necessarily not be satisfied because you're not going to have the definition and you're not going to have the muscle structure in the abdominal region to show for it, right? And it also may look to your physique looking a little bit imbalanced. If you have an amazing chest, amazing arms, amazing back, amazing legs, but you don't necessarily have the core to show for it, then it may look a little bit imbalanced. So it is so important that you train abs. And as I said, you can literally burn your abs in like 10 minutes. I'll literally think of a five exercise circuit off the top of my head. So first of all, ab crunches, and then leg raises, and then sit-ups on a decline bench, Russian twists, and normal crunches on the floor, or plank hold, right? Any of them exercises, and there's more as well. You can burn your abs in 10 minutes. You don't necessarily have to do all of them in 10 minutes because that's just like ridiculous, but you can pick and choose, right? And honestly, it is so easy. It is easier than you think. It's fucking painful, but it's a lot easier than you think to stimulate growth in the abs, and it takes a lot less time than you truly think it does if you train properly and you train at an intense enough level. In addition, I just want to quickly, before I move on to the final misconception, I just want to go through and reiterate how having a good core and having a good set of abs and all of that good stuff, that can contribute to you having good stability and posture and functional strength, which can contribute towards helping other exercises in the gym and helping your performance in other exercises in the gym. Because what you may not know is that your core comes into play on a lot of exercises in the gym. For example, you may not know this, but on exercises such as dumbbell bench press and dumbbell chest press, right, your core comes into play because it needs that stability, right? On the majority of your exercises, as I said, your core comes into play because you need the stability. So, and as this provides your posture and functional strength, it can help your performance in the gym, which can help your productivity in the gym, your efficiency when performing exercises, and it's going to make it easier to optimize and to perform technique a lot better on certain exercises. If you have better posture, stability, and functional strength, it's going to make it a lot easier to nail down and knuckle down on good form on an exercise you may not have much experience with. So it is so important that you train abs for these reasons. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't realised this till too long ago. I've been aware that training abs is so important, but I've just never been asked. and that is such a pussy thing, right? It literally takes, as I said, 10 minutes to burn your abs. And since then, so since about probably 4 or 5 months ago, I've realised that training abs, even when you're bulking, is so important, right? It's like with any other muscle. If you stop training your biceps or your back because you're bulking, and because you don't see much definition, when you cut down, you're not going to have much muscle there, right? So it's literally the same thing with abs. You may not see them on the bulk, but you sure will see them on the cut when you're walking on that beach, right? Okay, so now to the final misconception. Misconcepción número 5 del video es que eating junk food will help me bulk up. And I'll be honest with you, you can agree with this to an extent, okay? Because if you do eat junk food, you are going to naturally bulk up because all of that food is shit, fatty food, right? So you're obviously going to gain weight, but that weight is going to be fat and not muscle. And what you need to make sure you do in a bulk, and I just want to remind you of what a bulk is actually for. Putting on as much muscle as possible and minimizing the amount of fat gain as possible, because in the long term, when you have to cut down, if you're eating pizzas and burgers and all this junk food and takeaways every day, or not necessarily every day but a lot of the time, right? I mean, first of all, it's going to cost you a lot of money, so you know that won't be nice to your bank account, right? Second of all, when you have to cut down, you're going to have more fat to lose. Therefore, you're going to have to be in a deficit over a longer period of time, and potentially you're going to have to be in a more extreme deficit in order to lose that fat because you've got more to lose. Therefore, it's going to be more mentally stressful, and you're going to have restrictions on your foods that you may not like for a prolonged period of time. Therefore, as I said, it's going to be a lot harder for you. It's going to be a harder process for you. So, as I was talking about at the beginning of that video, you've got to embrace that delayed gratification of not having junk food when you can and trying to keep it as healthy as you can for as long as you can. Therefore, when you cut down, you're going to have less fat or you're going to have minimal fat gain. Therefore, you're going to have minimal fat to lose, and the cutting process is going to be a whole lot easier for you. You may not have to eat in as much of a deficit, and it's going to be over a shorter period of time to get that beach body physique you want when you walk on that beach and you strut your stuff, mate. So it is so important that you try and keep it healthy and you try and get your nutrients from whole foods and you try and get your protein and hit your calorie surplus from whole foods. And yeah, I mean, you know, having, you know, junk food and stuff, it will obviously help you get in that surplus, and that is what is most important when trying to bulk. But you've got to try and get your nutrients and your proteins and your, you know, your calories from whole foods, because that's what truly matters, because that's, you know, the healthiest stuff. And you feel good when you eat healthy, right? If you're eating junk food 24/7, it can sort of mentally have an effect as well as a physical one. You know, you can have loads of spots, you're going to get fat, you can get you know, your confidence can go down, and you know, it doesn't necessarily help other things as well. Just remember, the more you eat good food and healthy food, the more healthy you're going to feel, the better you're going to feel about yourself. And just remember that having a good and healthy diet is a catalyst for, you know, health is wealth, right? So just remember that, and that is now the end of the video. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you have enjoyed this video and truly learnt something. And if you have enjoyed this video and truly learnt something, I'd really appreciate it if you could drop a like, a comment and a subscription, so you can learn more about how to transform yourself from that skinny young man to achieving your dream physique, and so the algorithm will recommend me to you every time I drop a video. So without further ado, I will see you guys in the next video. Whoopah!